Okay, we're heading down from the Continental Divide, heading back to the trailhead, and then we're going to check out a couple of shorter trails before we head out of the park. El Dorado Canyon State Park outside of Boulder, Colorado. So short trail, quite a bit of elevation gain, but pretty easy overall. And not a lot of people today, so that's the way we like it. Getting little clouds blowing in, blocking the sun a little bit, which is nice because I probably already got more sun than I needed. But I'm just going with it. Got to get your vitamin D. I had my vitamin D tested. Hang on, let me adjust this because I don't want it to fall out of my selfie stick. I had my vitamin D tested a few weeks ago.
We're heading down, right, Dad?
Yeah, we're going down. This is the loop, but we're not gonna do the loop. We're going down.
Yo, do you want to do an 8 mile?
You can do the loop if you want. So we'll meet you back down at the hotel.
Okay, no, actually, I'm not doing that.
So I had my vitamin D tested a few weeks ago because I was getting lots of tests done. I still got lots of tests coming up in October, but you always want to make sure your vitamin D levels are okay. So of course, getting sunlight is the best way to get vitamin D, but it's not always practical. And where we're from in South Texas, it can get, it can be a painful experience, especially for someone who's fair complected like me. But out here in Colorado, even though we're higher, we get more radiation. The heat's not as intense, but my vitamin D was actually a little high, probably too high. It was, I had a flag, but I was also supplement D3. Now I just take one tab every day. It's like 4,000 or 5,000 IUs a day I take, plus I try to get as much sun as I can. I usually go out every day and walk in the sun. But before I had the test done, I didn't know, so I was overdoing it. And I was taking like, what was I taking? I was taking like 10,000, between 10 and 20,000 IUs a day of vitamin D3. And my doctor didn't tell me to stop taking it, but when I saw the reading, I kind of cut it way back. So I'll get my blood tested again in October, and we'll see what my D3 are, what my D levels are, and it'll be from taking just 5,000 IUs a day plus getting out in the sun like this most days.
Why are you pushing me to the track?
So this is a good way to get some vitamin D. And I think that vitamin D, vitamin K, they create DHEA that helps your bone marrow create red blood cells, which helps transport oxygen. It's just a chain, and any breakdown in the chain can cause problems. And I was having some pretty serious problems, and I'm still having some problems that we haven't completely got resolved yet, but some of the problems have been resolved. And it's just a process. It's taken a long time. Did you hurt yourself for real?
Yeah, that really hurts.
What happened? Did you twist your
I
ankle?
went like that. Dude, I go like this all the time.
Ziggy twisted his ankle. He's done that a couple of times before, but...
I went to Sandia Mountain.
Yeah, did you do it on the Sandia Mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hiked outside Albuquerque. I got some video of that. That's on our channel. That was one of our early on hikes, one of our early on big hikes. We had never done anything like that before. We didn't go up and down. We just caught a ride to the top. I had parked at the trailhead at the base of the mountain. We were doing a workaway in Albuquerque, and the host wanted to go up to the top anyway because I had never been up there. So they gave us a ride to the top and dropped us off. What we weren't prepared for is the elevation. The temperatures up there were like in the 20s still, and there was still snow on the ground on the trail, and I was a little bit freaked out because my kids were much younger. Like it was over a year and a half ago when we did that hike, and there was nobody up there. The wind was blowing like crazy, so we didn't really spend any time up on the observation overlooking Albuquerque. So once I realized that we weren't going to be able to get down in a car, we just took off down the mountain. And of course, as you go down, it gets warmer and warmer and warmer, and it didn't take long, and we were below the wind, and the temperatures stabilized and it wasn't so, you know, it got up into the 40s, and that was good hiking weather. And then once we got down, all the way down to towards the bottom of the mountain, it was more deserty and got hot. So one day we'll go back to Albuquerque. I love Albuquerque. The only thing about Albuquerque is it's dangerous, lots of crime, lots of poverty. So as cool as the city is, as cool as that area is, because there's so much to do in Albuquerque, it has its risks, but I definitely want to spend more time there as we do these trips out west. And hopefully the next time we get to spend some time in Albuquerque, we'll be in hiking shape and we can just park at the trailhead and go up and down like we do a lot of these other mountains, like what we're doing here today. And that should be doable for us because now we have so much experience. It's just a matter of getting conditioned and, you know, starting early enough. And it's like, I think it's like 6 miles, so it's probably like a 12-mile round trip hike. But I'm not 100% certain. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Some more kiddos on the trail. We're back to the Crag Hotel ruins here. Trail to the ruins is that way. This is the loop that loops around and goes up, ties in where we were just at. And then here's just a little bit more. It remains a mystery whether it was arson or nature that caused the fire. Blah, 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 blah. The Moffett Railroad to the Crags, $1 in your pocket. 1908 would buy a round-trip train ticket from Denver. The railroad tracks above you to the south are still used today. You can also drive up Crags Boulevard, today's Rattlesnake Gulch Trail, or even hop on the Funicle. Yeah, I guess they did have a road. There's a car, and then maybe the loop part of the trail is the old highway. No, we're not going to do that today. We probably won't ever come back to this park again. There's just too much to do. Yeah, what do y'all think of Catherine's hairstyle? She's getting better at her hair. She has to kind of figure it out, or learn off YouTube, because I don't do hair, I'm sorry.
Hey Dad, I can braid your belly hair so I can just joint.
Yeah, she picks on me about my chest and belly hairs, but oh man, men are supposed to be hairy. So anyway, that's our Sandia Mountain story, and it was a beautiful hike, and there wasn't nobody on it, but it was kind of weird because of the snow, but it was beautiful, and I would like to do it again. But you know, August is like the best time, August, September, October, to do certain things. Albuquerque would probably be really nice in October. It would be cooler because it's a deserty climate, but up at those top high elevations in the Sandias, it's probably cold, but there wouldn't be any snow yet unless there was just the freak snowstorm. It could happen, but highly unlikely. So a trip to Albuquerque on our way home in October would be possible. It just depends on how it all lays out. We're going to be at the north rim of the Grand Canyon, and then from there we've got to make it across to Guadalupe Peak, because we're going to do Guadalupe Peak again this year. We've already got our reservations in the campground there. So between the north rim of the Grand Canyon and Guadalupe Peak, we could go back to Albuquerque. It's possible. But what I want to do is I want to do the Petrified Forest again, which is like a 5-hour day trip through the national park, and there's not any camping that I've found around Petrified Forest. If there is, it's private campgrounds. It's going to be too expensive for us. So we have to go further south into the mountains between Arizona and New Mexico, and there's a couple of campgrounds that I found. We use Camp Pendium 99% of the time to find camping areas, because that's worked really well for us. It's sufficient. And I found at least 2 different campsites campgrounds I'd like to try, and they're kind of off in those mountains down there in central central eastern Arizona and central western New Mexico. We haven't ever been in that area, so I want to go explore that area. And it just depends on how easy it is to get to these places once we're in there. And then we'll go to Las Cruces, because there's a really nice campground there called Aguirre Springs. It's inexpensive, like $6, $7 a night, and it's a really nice area. And hopefully, last year we were there, but the White Sands Missile Museum was under renovation, so that was closed. I'm hoping this year I can take the kids to the Missile Museum, and then we'll hit White Sands, and then we'll go to Carlsbad Cavern, and then we'll hit Guadalupe Peak. And so that's all going to be real tight already. So I don't know if we have time to do even a couple of days in Albuquerque, which would just be to go do like hiking the Sandias. So I don't know. But next year, I'm already planning next year's trip, because this year and last year, I'm still kind of learning a lot, and getting reservations in these national parks is a pain in the ass. Some of them are easy, no problems. Some of them are first come, first serve, and you just do the best you can, you know, and hope that you get there. There's tricks to that as well. But there's some, like Rocky Mountain National Park and Big Bend, that are already booked up. And people book those things out 6 months in advance when they open up the booking window. And then they do reservations like 2 weeks out. But there'll be like 1 or 2 or 3 campsites that they put up like 2 weeks out. And I can only imagine 10,000 people on their reservation in their account trying to get those 2 or 3 sites. It sucks. So next year, I'm already planning next year's trip, as crazy as that sounds. And because we want to go up into, we want to come back to Colorado, and we're going to do Gunnison next year. We haven't done that one. That'll be the last national park in Colorado. We'll grab that one next year. And then we want to go up into Wyoming and do Yellowstone, and then go up and do Glacier, and then go over into Washington State, grab all those parks, Crater Lake in Oregon, and then back down and do Redwood in California, and then head down, and we'll see, you know. But I'm gonna get all that stuff scheduled starting in January, because I'm not gonna get to 1 or 2 months out and be like, oh, you know what, let's go to Yosemite in September, and then it's like, it's impossible. So we're going to plan next year's trip. I've already got it planned. And in January, as soon as the reservations open for June, I'm booking campsites. And sounds crazy. Sounds crazy to me even saying it. But it'll be our 3rd year doing it, doing trips out here. And there's just no other way. If you want to guarantee getting spots. Otherwise, you have to do what I do now, is I get on the website every day looking for cancellations. And we got everything booked except for 3 campsites. One of them is a first come, first serve at the Devil's Tower, and there's nothing we can do about that. We just got to get there early, the days that we're going to plan on staying there. The next one is Rocky Mountain National Park. I've got 4 or 5 days already booked, but there's 2 days in the middle that I haven't found a campsite cancellation yet, a reservation cancellation yet, that I have to check and check and check and check and check, and it drives me crazy. Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good, how are you?
Doing good, thanks. So we've got a reservation for the night of the 1st Rocky Mountain National Park, but we don't have the 2nd or the 3rd, and then we've got the 4th through the 7th, I think, reserved. So I don't know what we're gonna do if we can't get those other 2 nights in the middle. I guess we'll have to go out of the park somewhere and go find somewhere else to stay. And then Big Bend is the same way. We want to camp in Big Bend in October, and the 3 days that we want to stay there are completely reserved. There's openings on either side of the days that we want to be there, But the days we want, of course, are booked out, which is weird. So I don't want to go through this next year. I did it last year. We were very fortunate last year that we were able to stay in every single national park, and we were able to get every campground, and it was because I was just diligent, and we caught cancellations. So we were able to do Devil's Garden and Arches. We were able to do Fruta and Capitol Reef. I mean, amazing that it worked out. We were able to stay in Camp 4 in Yosemite, and it just worked out really well for us. But it's hard and it's stressful. It takes a lot of effort to pull it together, and I don't like it. So anyway, I'll try to do it better next year. So anyway, we're hiking down. I'm gonna end the video. That's enough of me pontificating, sharing our journey with you. Take some more photos and some more videos around the park before we head out. And then we're doing the Butterfly Pavilion, which should be epic. It's supposed to be a really neat place. All right, man. Thanks for coming along on our hike. Let us know what